Hey folks, it's me, Joseph, coming at you again with another episode of Art and the Garden, the series where I share with you two things I have an enormous passion for, my art and my container garden. If you're ready, let's grow. Okay, so for today's art, I'm going to try something a little different. I'm just going to take you step by step through the process of creating this still life using watercolor pencils. Okay, so first, I'll start with a rough draft using various shapes and forms like circles, ovals, and cylinders. Next, I'll create a line drawing that sort of outlines the overall composition to give me a good idea of putting everything in place and having everything proportionate, right? I began applying watercolor pencils to my sketch. I create contrast by adding shadows to get a better idea of the overall composition. Next, I began blocking in color using light strokes and building up layers gradually. Now, don't be afraid to experiment with various colors. Don't be afraid to layer your colors and things like that. It's all fun. Now, I dip my paintbrush in water and then start gently brushing over the colored pencil lines. This will activate the watercolor properties of the pencils, creating the watercolor effect. Allow the first layer to dry before adding additional layers. This allows you to build up depth and intensity in your colors. And then once the initial layers are dry, you can add finer details using sharpened watercolor pencils or a Prismacolor colorless blender. Now pay attention to your shadows, highlights, and any other little intricate detail. And then after that, there you have it, a finished piece. So now, let's talk a little bit about gardening, okay? To this episode, germinating seeds, but I want to talk a little bit about recycling materials that I use to make small grow domes. And we're going to look at germinating seeds through the use of paper towels through the use of paper towels. And so I love using old recycled food trays and things like that for creating grow domes. And I don't necessarily get into heat pads and heat lighting and all of that. I just try to keep it real simple, using the grow domes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some cayenne pepper. I'm going to start some beef steak tomatoes. And I am also going to start up some Roma tomatoes using these recycled food trays that I use as grow domes, okay? And so the next thing I want to do is kind of get everything ready. And what I also will be using is a technique using paper towels. And this germinating process I found to be extremely successful with starting up seeds. And so you want to wet the paper towels. And then what I'll do is I'll line each of the trays I have with a wet paper towel. Like this. And then, it's just a matter of applying seeds. And what I'll do, I try to spread the seeds out and try not to allow them to be close together or fall one on top of the other. I try to spread them out evenly throughout the tray. And then after that, I will place another wet paper towel on top of that. And I'll repeat that for each of the trays. Okay? Okay, so I will go ahead and add some seeds to this tray. Yeah. Making sure that they don't overlap or don't fall on top of each other, and spread them out nice and evenly. Just like that. It's a real simple process, and I've found that it helps with germinating the seeds. Now, it may take a little longer with my process because, again, I'm not applying heat lamps or heating mats and things like that. I normally just take them and put them in the window. Now, this is still January, but I'm going to go ahead and see what I can get started with this process. And that way I can, I can see how to get it going. So that's it, just again, paper towel on top, seal it all up, just like this. Yeah. And then the next thing I'll do is just kind of make sure I label everything. So that way I know what I planted or what seeds are in each of the containers. Don't want to lose that. And again, I'm starting with some Romas, some beefsteak, and some cayenne pepper seeds. Okay? Yeah. And so, after getting these labeled up, the next thing I'll do is just take them, boom, and take them to the window. I place them in the window. Often I will let this the blind up a little bit to let some sunlight in. I try to keep my room temperature pretty warm. And guess what? After about 10 weeks or so, no. So after about 10 days, 10 weeks, no. After 10 days, let's see what we got. And again, we're starting with the, beefsteak. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's after 10 days. And they're ready to go. Look at that. Look at that. That's the beefsteak, the Romas. Looking good. Look at that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And what I'm going to do later in the next episode is transfer these into some small grow containers. And that'll be, the cayenne. Let's see. Not much happening with the cayenne peppers. Not much happening. But that's okay. Again, in the next episode, I'll be transferring all of these into some small grow containers and sitting them back in the window, and it'll be February. So by the end of February, we'll take another look at all of this and see how it goes again, okay? But that's how I start using recycled material. That's how I get my seeds going. And if you like what I'm doing, you can always go to my website and grab some of the merch, some of the prints that are in the Art in the Garden series. And until next time, let's grow.